So I am here at Pitstone Windmill and James Burns. It doesn't get any better than this. Actually, it gets a lot better than this. This is it's pretty pants really. The windmill's interesting enough, but the light's not great. It was raining on the way down, which it hadn't forecast. But we've got to make the most of it, haven't we? We've got to try and see what we can get out of the evening, because there's no point driving here. This is on the Buckinghamshire border, or actually it's in Buckinghamshire, it's not necessarily on the border. It's in Buckinghamshire near a small town called Tring, and also Pitstone and Ivanhoe, it's near the Ivanhoe Beacon. It's just a windmill in a field. I think it's a National Trust property. It's not open at the moment, but all the fields are accessible. There's some nice corn, I think it's corn, some sort of crop in the field, so hopefully we'll be able to use that as well for a bit of foreground interest. It's not very windy though. I was kind of thinking it might be able to get some movement in the whatever it is, corn, or I think it's corn. Get some movement in it, you know, get a bit of a longish exposure with a little bit of movement, but it's not very windy at all, so might have to go to plan B and focus on getting some very sharp front to back images and really getting the corn in sharp focus, assuming it's corn. I've said that about 8 times now, appreciate that. So yeah, so we shall see what we can do. There are little pockets of light here and there, but overall it's pretty grey. The clouds have got some texture in them though, so that is a good thing. But yeah, let's take a wander and see what we can do. To the far side of the mill here. Got this field of corn, I think it's corn, and the slight issue here, I think it's going to be an issue wherever I go, taking it from this angle, is that I'm losing the bottom sails. They're just disappearing off into the trees that are in the background there, so you can't get low enough to separate them out. So whether I'll just make do with that or whether I'll do something about that in post, I don't know. It's a very, very still day, as I said before, so not going to get any movement in this corn at all. That's completely out of the question. So what I'm doing, I think, is I'm going to focus stack a shot here, so I'll get really good sharpness all the way through the shot and get some real interest here in this corn in the very near foreground, because there's some nice colours in it. It's quite interesting, the patterns, the textures are quite nice, and then leading back and almost with the windmill very small actually in the background, and not a lot of sky at the moment either. I may change that, I may go for 2/3 sky just to get a bit more interesting, maybe just focus in, zoom in a little bit, get some extra focus on that windmill, but at the moment that's the way I'm going. right at this moment there's a lot more chance of me getting wet than there is of me getting a sunset, but nevertheless we plough on, apt term. I've come down a lot closer now to the windmill. We're actually in the field, but I'm standing in the tracks that the tractor makes. I don't know if you can see it snaking off behind me there, so I'm not doing any damage to the actual corn itself. And I'm hoping that here is going to be a really good example of where my nodal slider comes into play, because I've got it on now and I'm hoping that I will get at least cut out some of the distortion that being so close and shooting a panoramic image causes. So I'm pretty close in. I'm shooting it at 24mm. I've got it on f14 because there's a little hint of movement now in the grasses, but nothing major. So I've got it at f14. I'm still getting pretty sharp images, and yeah, that's giving me a half a second exposure at the moment. And the sky's pretty dramatic actually, so it could look quite nice, but the only worry is I'm going to get a horribly distorted image because I'm taking a panorama of this big windmill here from so close up. Hopefully that won't be an issue. Hopefully the nodal slider will sort some of that problem out, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. If it doesn't, then what I'm going to have to do is, well, try something else. I'm not sure what yet. Come further around now, so now I'm sort of more side on, slightly facing the back of the windmill, because there's some quite nice sort of reddy hues in the sky. Not really a sunset, but reasonably interesting. But Gareth, who I'm with, who's just over here, he's had the idea of doing a long exposure, so I thought, do you know what, I might try that. So at the moment I've got the 10 stop on, and I've got it on for 4 minutes. It's going to be a 4-minute exposure, and if this works out, then I'm going to do a 4-minute panoramic exposure, so we could be here a while. Also got to factor in the drop in light, of course. But yeah, we shall see. The clouds are coming towards me, so it might make an interesting shot. Well, the sunrise didn't really materialise. You get what you're given. You just have to make do with it. Maybe got some interesting shots with the long exposure. Hopefully some of the panoramics have come out. The early one with the focus stacking, you never know. Hopefully they've come out, but and you'll see before me anyway. So yeah. So thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to, then please feel free. And I always love comments, so comments are always welcome. Yeah, thanks very much for watching from a dark and well, not very interesting Pitstone Windmill. I'll see you next time.